Hello, mighty companions, fellow miracle workers, members of our Miracles Attraction community on Facebook, and my YouTube subscribers, if you're watching this over there. Thanks for joining me for another weekly Wednesday Wisdom video. And I have just returned from 2 weeks of vacation with my entire family, an incredible trip that involved a week in Alaska on a cruise ship, stopping in at different ports, and a week traveling through Canada, which was really fabulous. I never spent much time in Canada before, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm so happy to be back here with you this week. And if you watched my recorded video last week, I want to let you know that my waterproof boots worked out just fine. I had a very rainy day in Juneau walking around town, and my feet stayed warm, dry, and cozy. But that's not what I'm here to talk about with you this week. This week, I want to talk about how you can never be lonely again. Do you think that's possible? Let me know if you think that's realistic or not. I know that it's realistic because it's happened for me. And I want to tell you a little bit of my story. So when I was growing up, I was always looking for love, looking for a boyfriend, looking for a husband when I got older, and thinking that that would be the solution, that that would make my loneliness go away. And I also spent a lot of time out doing things with friends, very social, because it was hard for me to be home alone. I did not enjoy my own company. And I think that's true for many, many people, because during the pandemic, during COVID, when people were forced to quarantine, forced to stay home, not able to go to work and be around their colleagues and their friends and their family members, a lot of people really suffered. People were miserable if they were not used to spending time by themselves and were suddenly thrust into the situation where they had to acclimate. Now, one of the things I noticed that was interesting was a lot of the groups that I participated in moved from in-person activities to virtual activities on Zoom, and I'm sure that happened for you too. I was very involved in Toastmasters, and instead of meeting at the community center in person, we moved to Zoom, and that worked great for me. I enjoyed it just as much. Wasn't able to stand up and give presentations in person. We were sitting in front of our computers, so you lost that little bit of element of presentation. But I happened to move in the middle of the pandemic from Texas to Pennsylvania, so it was perfect for me that I was able to continue participating with my Toastmasters group. Another thing that shifted was my yoga class. I was very involved in my yoga studio in Houston, and my yoga teacher moved her classes to Zoom. And then I moved to Pennsylvania, and I was able to participate and continue with that group, even when they went back to the studio and went back to meeting in person, because she continued to do it on Zoom as well as in person. And for me, it wasn't much different. But I noticed that my mother-in-law, for example, who had to suddenly start meeting with her Bible study group or her Weight Watchers group on Zoom, it was extremely difficult. She was so invested in the idea that the body is the reality of the person, that not being able to connect with other bodies, not being able to hug people, not being able to talk to people face to face was a huge challenge. So I ask you to think about this and to look at what your belief system is with regard to who you are and who other people are. Because when you believe that the body is the person, and then suddenly you can't be with other bodies, it feels like you've really been separated. You've really been cut off from society, and it's very, very lonesome. But when you know the truth of who you are, when you know that the spirit is your true identity and the true identity of everybody else, there is no sense of separation. There is no feeling of being cut off and disconnected. You can talk to somebody on the phone, you can talk to them on the computer, you can talk to them in person, and it's all the same because you're connecting at the level of spirit, not at the physical level. So if you're watching this live, let me know. Drop me a note and say you're watching it live. If you're watching the replay, put #replay and let me know. I'm so pleased to see all of you on here today. And I'm talking about how you can never be lonely again. So I saw this crazy statistic. I wanted to read this to you. It says in 2021, people lost $547 million to romance scams, an 80% increase from 2020. So during the COVID, during the pandemic, when people were feeling cut off, they got online and they started looking for love in all the wrong places, and they paid money to people in places they shouldn't have spending money on, and lost money because of this feeling of desperation and disconnection. So the way to not feel lonely isn't to hook up with somebody else, to connect with another body. It has to do with our connection with our higher power, with our source. And A Course in Miracles, my spiritual practice, says that a sense of separation from God is the only lack you need correct. The only thing that needs correction is this idea that I'm here and God is out there. I'm here and you're over there. That people are not connected because we see these individual bodies walking around and they seem separate from one another. Well, at the body level, at the ego level, there is a disconnect. That's the whole ego thought system, is about disconnection and separation. But when I took the time to make my spiritual practice my #1 priority, and I started getting up every morning and spending time in prayer and meditation and silence and journaling and connecting with my source, my sense of loneliness disappeared and it has never returned. So that's the secret. That's my tip for you today. You want to go within, because that is where the answers are. You will never find the answers in the external world. The external world is a projection from your mind. And I know it looks very real, and I know it feels very real, and I know it seems like there's 8 million people walking around on the planet, because that's what we have been conditioned to believe from the day we were born. And withdrawing belief from that belief system, withdrawing belief and not giving energy to that whole indoctrination that we've all bought into, is the answer to everything. Because when we tune in and connect with our source, things shift in a miraculous way. That's when miracles start to happen. I can't explain it to you in ego terms because it doesn't make sense in ego terms. It's a whole different level of reality. So in quantum physics, they say that there are multiple realities all happening at the same time, and we can shift from one of these realities to another one of these realities, but it does require mind training. It does require a different mindset. It requires the willingness to look at things differently, to perceive things differently, and to have a different perspective. And most of us are not willing to do something different because of the fear of the unknown. We would rather stay with the devil we know, with the comfort zone where we feel safe, than to try something new and different that may feel risky, that may feel dangerous, and that entails an element of the unknown. But I'm telling you, that's where the magic happens. As long as you keep on doing what you've always done, looking for love outside of yourself, you will keep being disappointed, because nothing in this ego world is permanent. Somebody somewhere is always going to let you down. Nobody's perfect. And as long as you put all your hopes and dreams in a basket of someone else giving you what you need, people will leave you. They will die. They will get sick. They will get jobs. They will move away. Things are going to happen. So we need to put our faith in ourselves. We need to love ourselves. And when you learn to love who you are and be comfortable being with yourself, you'll never feel alone. You've got to be your own best friend because you have to live with yourself your entire life. So if you can't adore yourself, how can you expect somebody else to adore you? Think about it. You are a holy child of God. You've got it all going on. If you don't know that, it's because of a misperception and a misunderstanding. So start at the beginning. Start with yourself. I know it's very cliche to say you've got to love yourself before you can find love with somebody else, but it's the truth. People connect at an energetic level. When you are coming from a place of lack, limitation, loneliness, you will connect with another who is also coming from a place of lack, limitation, and loneliness. If you want to connect with someone who's fabulous, awesome, and got it all together, you've got to be fabulous, awesome, and have it all together. You have to be at that same frequency. That's how it works. You're never going to connect like this. So, let me know what you think. Let me know if you had a hard time during the pandemic or if you enjoyed it. I personally enjoyed it. I loved being home. I loved the peace and quiet. I loved not having to go out and engage in social things with people that I may not have much in common with, and being able to spend time doing what I truly loved and I truly enjoyed. And now that the world is opening up again, I'm also very happy to have the opportunity to travel and to get out and see and do things. And Carly and I are really interested in pursuing travel for spiritual reasons. If you're interested in that, let us know as well. Maybe we'll get a group together and go somewhere. My next trip that I'm planning is to Mexico in November with a group of like-minded spiritual people who study A Course in Miracles. And I'm very excited about that as well, although it's nice to be home again and rest for a while. What goes up must come down, right? We go out and then we come back. And then we can't always be on. We have to exhale and we have to inhale and regroup. So, Carly and I are also offering coaching. If you're interested in that, drop us a line, let us know. And that's all I have to say for this week. I hope you got some value out of this video. I'm Teresa McGallagher, and I love you. Have a great week.